Hey everyone, welcome to Osmosis. In this video, we're going to go over the endocrine system and all of its hormones. I'm your host, and I'm currently a third-year medical student. I hope by the end of this video, you'll be able to know every hormone in the body and what organ system it belongs to, so let's get started. The endocrine system is made up of all the glands in the body that secrete chemical messengers called hormones that travel through the bloodstream and coordinate the activity of cells and organs. The key difference between the endocrine system and the nervous system is that the nervous system uses electrical impulses while the endocrine system uses chemical messengers or hormones. So let's start from the head and work our way down. The first gland we need to talk about is the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a pea-sized gland at the base of the brain, and it is one of the most important glands in the endocrine system. It is known as the master gland because it controls the function of many other endocrine glands. It releases hormones in response to signals from the hypothalamus, which is another part of the brain. These hormones can stimulate or suppress the release of hormones from other glands. Here are some of the hormones released from the pituitary gland. First is antidiuretic hormone, also known as vasopressin, and its job is to regulate the amount of water reabsorbed in the kidneys. Next, we have follicle-stimulating hormone, which stimulates the production of eggs in the ovaries and sperm in the testes. Then we have growth hormone, which, as its name suggests, is responsible for growth and development. Next is prolactin, which stimulates milk production in the mammary glands of the breast. Thyroid-stimulating hormone stimulates the thyroid gland to produce thyroid hormones. Then we have adrenocorticotropic hormone, which stimulates the adrenal glands to make cortisol. Finally, we have gonadotropins, which are follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. And these two hormones stimulate the gonads, or the ovaries and testes, to make sex hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Next, we have the hypothalamus itself. Although it isn't technically an endocrine gland, it secretes several hormones, including antidiuretic hormone, oxytocin, which causes uterine contractions during childbirth and milk ejection during breastfeeding, and several releasing and inhibiting hormones that control the pituitary gland. Moving down, we have the thyroid gland. This gland is located in the neck, and it produces several important hormones. The main ones are triiodothyron, or T3, and thyroxine, or T4, which are the two main hormones produced by the thyroid. They help regulate metabolism and are essential for normal growth and development. The thyroid also produces calcitonin, which lowers calcium levels in the blood by taking it out of the bones. Next, we have the parathyroid glands. There are usually 4 of these glands embedded in the thyroid gland, and they secrete parathyroid hormone, which raises calcium levels in the blood by pulling calcium from the bones. Moving down the neck, we have the thymus, which is important for the immune system and produces thymosin, which helps T cells mature. Now moving to the heart actually produces atrial natriuretic peptide, which decreases blood pressure by excreting sodium and water from the kidneys. Moving down to the lungs contain cells called pulmonary neuroendocrine cells, which produce serotonin, histamine, and other hormones that are involved in regulating the lungs' response to injury and infection. Next, we have the pancreas, which is an organ located in the abdomen. It has both endocrine and exocrine functions. Its endocrine function is carried out by clusters of cells called the islets of Langerhans. Within these islets, there are different types of cells that produce different hormones. The main ones are insulin, which lowers blood sugar levels, and glucagon, which raises blood sugar levels. The pancreas also produces pancreatic polypeptide, which inhibits the release of digestive enzymes from the pancreas. It also slows stomach emptying into the small intestine and regulates the release of pancreatic digestive enzymes. The other hormones produced by the pancreas are somatostatin, which inhibits the release of insulin, and glucagon, and gastrin, which stimulates the release of gastric acid and pepsinogen from the stomach. Next, we have the stomach. In addition to its role in digestion, the stomach produces several hormones, including gastrin, which stimulates the release of gastric acid and pepsinogen from the stomach. Pepsinogen is converted to pepsin, which is an enzyme that helps break down protein in the stomach. The stomach also produces ghrelin, which stimulates appetite and is released when the stomach is empty. And finally, the stomach produces somatostatin, which inhibits the release of gastrin and other digestive hormones. Next, we have the small intestine, which produces several hormones that regulate digestion. The first one is secretin, which stimulates the release of pancreatic enzymes and bile from the gallbladder. Cholecystokin, or CCK, on the other hand, stimulates the release of digestive enzymes from the pancreas and bile from the gallbladder. It also promotes fat absorption in the small intestine and inhibits stomach emptying into the small intestine. Lastly, we have glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide, or GIP, which stimulates insulin release from the pancreas in the presence of glucose. Moving on, we have the liver, which is a large organ located in the abdomen. It produces several hormones, including insulin-like growth factor 1, which is similar to insulin and helps regulate blood sugar levels. The liver also produces thrombopoietin, which stimulates the production of platelets from the bone marrow. It also produces angiotensinogen, which is a precursor to angiotensin II, a hormone that raises blood pressure. Finally, the liver produces several proteins that are involved in blood clotting, such as fibrinogen and prothrombin. Next, we have the kidneys, which are the two organs located in the back which filter waste from the blood and produce several hormones. The main one is erythropoietin, which stimulates the production of red blood cells from the bone marrow. The kidneys also produce renin, which is an enzyme that is part of the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, which regulates blood pressure. The kidneys also produce calcitriol, the active form of vitamin D, which helps regulate calcium levels in the blood. And lastly, they produce prostaglandins, which are hormone-like substances that regulate blood flow in the kidneys and other parts of the body. The next gland we need to talk about is the adrenal gland. There are two adrenal glands, one on top of each kidney, and they produce several hormones. The outer part of the adrenal gland is called the cortex, and it produces several steroid hormones. The main ones are cortisol, which helps regulate stress response and metabolism. Then we have aldosterone, which regulates salt and potassium levels in the blood. And lastly, we have androgens, which are male sex hormones. The inner part of the adrenal gland is called the medulla, and it produces epinephrine and norepinephrine, which are also called adrenaline and noradrenaline. These hormones are part of the fight or flight response and help regulate heart rate, blood pressure, and other bodily functions. Moving on, we have the gonads, which are the ovaries in females and the testes in males. The gonads produce steroid hormones called sex hormones. In females, the ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone, which regulate the menstrual cycle and pregnancy. While in males, the testes produce testosterone, which is responsible for the development of male characteristics and sperm production. Lastly, we have the pineal gland, which is a small gland in the brain that produces melatonin, which helps regulate sleep-wake cycles. Okay, so we went over a lot of information. Let's do a quick review. Starting with the pituitary gland, we have antidiuretic hormone, follicle-stimulating hormone, growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid-stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, and gonadotropins, which are follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Then we have the hypothalamus, which releases antidiuretic hormone, oxytocin, and several releasing and inhibiting hormones that control the pituitary gland. Moving down, we have the thyroid gland, which produces triiodothyron or T3 and thyroxine or T4 and calcitonin. Then we have the parathyroid glands, which produce parathyroid hormone. The thymus produces thymosin, the heart produces atrial natriuretic peptide, the lungs produce serotonin and other hormones involved in regulating lung function. The pancreas produces insulin, glucagon, pancreatic polypeptide, somatostatin, and gastrin. The stomach produces gastrin, ghrelin, and somatostatin. The small intestine produces secretin, cholecystokin, or CCK, and glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide, or GIP. The liver produces insulin like growth factor 1, thrombopoietin, angiotensinogen, and several clotting factors. The kidneys produce erythropoietin, renin, calcitriol, and prostaglandins. The adrenal glands produce cortisol, aldosterone, androgens, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. The gonads produce estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, and the pineal gland produces melatonin. I hope you were able to learn something from this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.